This is your weekly report on corruption in the Philippine government. The Sandigan Bayan has affirmed the graft conviction of the former regional secretary of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources in the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. Affirmed was the conviction of Sultan Usman T. Sarangani, who was found guilty in 16 counts of violations of Section 3E of Republic Act No. 3019, the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, due to the irregular purchase of office supplies and equipment worth 3.76 million pesos in 2010. In a decision promulgated last the 6th of February, the anti-graft court sentenced Sarangani to 6 to 7 years imprisonment for each graft conviction with perpetual disqualification from holding public office. He filed a motion for reconsideration and argued that the evidence presented by the prosecution are all photocopies, and the witnesses even admitted that they had no personal knowledge of the subject transactions. He also said that testimonies of the witnesses are inadmissible for being hearsay, as he claimed that his signatures in the subject documents were forged. At the same time, Sarangani said he could not be faulted for the irregular bid process, since lack of public bidding alone does not result in manifest advantage and gross disadvantage. However, the anti-graft court disagreed and dismissed his motion for being bereft of merit. Accused Sarangani failed to cast doubt on the authenticity of the originals of the said documents. Neither did he show that it is unjust or inequitable to admit the duplicates of the said documents in lieu of the originals, the court said. As for Sarangani's argument concerning the witnesses, the court said, it bears stressing that none of the prosecution's witnesses testified on the events surrounding the subject transactions. The said witnesses only testified on the records in their custody, or the lack thereof. Also, the court said that Sarangani failed to prove that his signatures were indeed forged. Contrary to accused Sarangani's claim, his conviction was not solely on the basis of the irregularities in the bidding process or lack of public bidding. In the assailed decision, the court discussed at length that accused Sarangani acted with manifest partiality, or at the very least, gross inexcusable negligence by deliberately ignoring the irregularities in the subject procurements. The court also said, the 10-page resolution dated the 19th of March, 2025 was written by 6th Division Chairperson Associate Justice Sarah Jean T. Fernandez with the concurrence of Associate Justices Kevin Nas B. Vivero and Colby Miranda. 4 suspects, including the alleged mastermind in the murder of beauty pageant candidate Geneva Lopez and her Israeli partner Yitzhak Cohen in Tarlac last year, have been arrested. Brigadier General Jean Fajardo, Central Luzon Police Director, said the alleged mastermind, Michael Angelo Giang, was arrested in Barangay San Francisco in Santa Ignacia town at past 6 p.m. on Wednesday. Fajardo, who is also spokesperson for the Philippine National Police, said the arrest was based on a warrant for murder issued by the Capiz Regional Trial Court Branch 109. No bail was granted for Giang's temporary liberty, she said. Giang, who is a former police officer, reportedly acted as agent in a transaction involving the property of the victims. Lopez and Cohen, who were from Pampanga, were last seen traveling to Capiz in a sport utility vehicle before they were reported missing on the 20th of June 24. Their remains were found buried at a quarry site in Capiz in July. Fajardo said that on Tuesday and Wednesday, similar warrants were served on 3 other suspects, identified as Rommel Abuso and Jeffrey Santos, who are detained at the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology in Tarlac City for a separate offense, and J. Taukibanza in Barangay Care. Fajardo said another suspect is being hunted down. On the 15th of August, 2024, the Criminal Investigation and Detection Group Tarlac filed murder charges against 5 suspects before the Department of Justice in Manila. A police officer was arrested in a buy-bust operation in Bayo Town in Camarines Sur on Friday night, the 21st of March. Camarines Sur Police said in a report Saturday that the suspect was identified as Staff Sergeant Joe Vernon Cabultera, 35, a resident of the town and assigned at the Provincial Intelligence Unit. Cabultera was arrested in Barangay San Francisco at around 11:20 p.m. Authorities recovered a total of 15 grams of shabu worth 102,000 pesos, a Glock 17 gun 4 with a magazine containing 16 live bullets, 6 live bullets of caliber 45 and a hand grenade with intact safety lever pin. The suspect, tagged as a high-value drug personality, is facing charges for violating the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002. A former elected official of Danao City remains in hiding after evading arrest during a buy-bust against illegal firearms on Friday, the 21st of March, 2025, in Barangay Suba, Danao City, Cebu. 3 of the officials' accomplices were apprehended. Police refused to name the former elected official. The operation was led by Regional Special Project Unit 7, in coordination with the Regional Mobile Force Battalion 7. Following months of intelligence monitoring and surveillance, authorities seized various firearms, including 3 caliber 45 pistols with 6 empty magazines, 1 unassembled KG-9 machine pistol with 2 magazines, and 1 unassembled Black Widow 9mm pistol. According to the Police Regional Office Central Visayas 7, the suspects are part of a gun-running syndicate supplying loose firearms to criminal groups operating in Central Visayas and other parts of the country. PRO 7 Director Brigadier General Rodrigo Marinan vowed to intensify efforts against illegal firearms networks. This successful operation is part of our intensified campaign to dismantle illegal firearms networks and prevent weapons from falling into the wrong hands. We will not stop until all individuals involved are held accountable, said Marinan. The 3 arrested suspects will face charges for violating Republic Act 105/91, Comprehensive Firearms and Ammunition Regulation Act, in relation to the Omnibus Election Code. Meanwhile, a manhunt operation is underway to locate the former elected official, who will also face legal charges. PRO 7 urged the public to report any information regarding the whereabouts of the official, assuring protection and confidentiality for informants. Marinan reaffirmed the police's commitment to dismantling organized crime groups, particularly gun runners across Central Visayas. A policeman who has been hiding from the law for nearly a decade for the crime of rape was finally apprehended by the Department of Transportation Special Action and Intelligence Committee for Transportation for illegally passing through the Edda busway on Monday, the 24th of March. According to the officers of DOTRSAICT, they caught the suspect illegally using the busway reserved for the exclusive use of public utility buses and authorized emergency vehicles. When he was asked to stop, he identified himself as a member of the Philippine National Police and ordered the SAICT personnel to let him pass. The authorities contacted the PNP's Criminal Investigation and Detection Group to verify his identity. They discovered that the rider has a long-standing warrant of arrest for the crime of rape issued on the 22nd of February, 2016. After obtaining a copy of the warrant, CIDG officers went to the area to apprehend the suspect and escorted him to Camp Crame while SAICT personnel confiscated the suspect's driver's license. A barangay chairman was shot and wounded in Calbayog City, Samar on Sunday, the 23rd of March. Police identified the victim as Romeo Olajan Sr., 50, chairman of Barangay Sinadman Occidental, Oquendo District. Olajan said he was driving his motorcycle on his way home after attending a barangay mediation when he noticed the suspects, Rene, 50, and Ing, residents of Calbayog, parked across the street. The suspects followed and shot him in the back. They fled toward Oquendo proper and the victim was taken to the hospital. Police said personal grudge is the motive of the shooting. The suspects face frustrated murder cases. Follow-up investigation is underway. A policewoman shot and wounded his live-in partner, also a police officer, during a heated argument inside their house in Barangay Sinol, this city, on Monday morning, the 24th of March. Police Colonel Nicomed Zoleva, City Police Director, said charges for frustrated murder will be filed against the suspect, 29. The couple is assigned to the Police Drug Enforcement Group 12 in Camp Lira, this city. The victim, a 51-year-old lieutenant, sustained bullet wounds in the chest and shoulder and is in critical condition in a hospital. The suspect, a patrol woman, was arrested and in the custody at Police Station 3 here. She faces criminal and administrative cases and summary dismissal proceedings. Crime of passion is eyed as a possible motive in the shooting. The Office of the Ombudsman has implemented a 6-month preventive suspension without pay of Marikina City Mayor Marcelino Marci Teodoro, Vice Mayor Marian S. Andres, and 17 other local officials for the reported misuse of 130 million pesos in Philippine Health Insurance Corporation funds for alleged non-health purposes. Also preventively suspended were City Treasurer Narissa Calvez San Miguel, City Accountant Erlinda Gutierrez Gonzalez, Assistant City Budget Officer Jason Rodriguez Nepomuceno, Sangguniang Panlungsod Secretary Noralyn Artingcunco, and Councilors Angelito Arnunes, Joseph B. Banzon, Don Carlo B. Favis, Loreto F. Tolentino, Jr., Serafin Y. Bernardino, Carly F. Africa, Cloyd S. Casimiro, Merif T. Dao, Levi D. de Guzman, Romina K. de Guzman, Samuel S. Farrell, Hilario Apunzalan, and Manuel E. Sarmiento. In a 10-page order that was served on Tuesday, the 25th of March, the OMB said the city officials were suspended without pay during the pendency of these cases until their termination, but not to exceed the total period of 6 months. The suspension stemmed from the complaint filed against the local officials by Sofronio Dule on the 26th of April, 2024. Dule asked the OMB to charge the local city officials with violations of Section 3(e) of Republic Act No. 3019, the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, Article 220 of the Revised Penal Code on Technical Malversation, and Article 217 of the RPC on malversation of public funds. He also asked the OMB to hold them administratively liable for conduct prejudicial to the best interest of the service and grave misconduct. Dule alleged that the respondent city officials used PhilHealth funds for the purchase of various IT equipment, infrastructure repair, and general supplies and for donations. Their acts, Dule also alleged, contravened with the specific provisions of Section 21 of RA No. 112/23 of the Universal Health Care Act, which explicitly stated that all income derived from PhilHealth payments must be allocated exclusively for the improvement of the local government unit health system. For the OMB, there were indeed sufficient grounds to order their preventive suspension, considering that there is strong evidence showing their guilt. The charges against them for grave misconduct and conduct prejudicial to the best interest of the service may warrant their removal from the service. Their continued stay in office may prejudice the investigation of the case filed against them. In order to preserve documents and evidence pertaining to this case which they have control and custody, and in order to avoid respondents' commission of further malfeasance and or misfeasance in office, the order stated. 4 individuals, including a police officer assigned here, were arrested in a buy-bust in Barangay Dontagan on Tuesday, with about 20 kilograms of shabu worth 136 million pesos seized. Kianul Tajil, Baguio City Police Office Director, said also seized at the scene were a firearm, various identification documents, mobile phones, and other pieces of evidence. This operation was the result of extensive intelligence gathering, Tajil said. The BCPO will not tolerate illegal activities within our ranks. We remain resolute in our dedication to ensuring that those who violate the law are held accountable. This operation delivers a clear message of our determination to uphold public trust and strengthen the professionalism of our police force. Tajil said the erring officer will be subjected to administrative charges and dismissed from the service, if proven guilty. He said they regularly implement the police information and continuing education, conducting random drug testing and ensuring law enforcers' non-engagement in illegal activities. The arrested individuals will face charges for violations of different provisions of the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002 like selling and possession of illegal drugs, Tajil said. The operation was conducted by the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency and Philippine National Police. 7 Bureau of Immigration personnel assigned at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport have been relieved of their posts due to an ongoing investigation on their alleged involvement in human trafficking activities. The relieved personnel, assigned at the NAIA Terminals 1 and 3, are under investigation following reports linking them to the illegal departure of trafficking victims repatriated last the 25th of March, said the BI in a statement on Wednesday, the 26th of March. It said the move is aligned with President Marcos' directive to eliminate corruption and strengthen border security. If found to have assisted the victims, said employees face cases before the Department of Justice. It also said, the BI said 30 Filipino victims returned to the Philippines after being rescued in Cambodia from online scamming syndicates. Apart from the 30 Filipinos, the BI noted 3 trafficking victims were repatriated from Cambodia earlier this month after being forced to work at a scam hub. Investigations revealed they had no official record of departure, having been reportedly smuggled out via small boats from Holo, Sulu, to Sabah, Malaysia, the bureau disclosed. The victims admitted that their passports were later stamped with fake Philippine departure marks before they traveled to Cambodia through Malaysia and Thailand, it added. The Sandigan has affirmed the conviction of a barangay official in Baguio City and 4 counts of malversation of public funds involving 52,000 pesos cash prizes during the 2011 Sangguniang Kabataan Sports Fest in 2011, affirmed was the conviction of Councilman Romel H. Beltran who, in 2022, was found guilty by the Baguio City Regional Trial Court. Beltran's appeal before the Sandigan was denied in 2024. He filed a motion for reconsideration of the anti-graft court's decision but it was rejected. In his motion, Beltran pointed out that there was no proof showing that he took, misappropriated, or permitted another person from taking the cash prizes. However, the anti-graft court denied Beltran's motion as it pointed out that the arguments he raised in his motion have already been passed upon after a careful consideration of the evidence presented by both the prosecution and defense. As the accountable officer for the cash prizes, the court held Beltran liable for malversation of 52,000 pesos, which were encashed on the 12th of April, 2013. The winners denied receiving the cash prizes and disputed the payroll, which showed that they have already claimed the money. It said, the 6-page resolution was written by Associate Justice Ronald B. Moreno with the concurrence of 3rd Division Chairperson Associate Justice Colby Miranda and Associate Justice Bernalito R. Fernandez. The Supreme Court has affirmed the decision of the Sandigan convicting former Pagsanjan, Laguna Mayor Jorge R. Ejecito Estragon of graft for awarding a contract to an unlicensed insurance company without public bidding. In a news release on Wednesday, the SC said its First Division found Ejecito and Marilyn Bruel, owner of First Rapids Care Ventures, guilty of violating Republic Act 3019 or the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act. They were sentenced to up to 8 years in prison and permanently banned from holding public office. The case stemmed from a complaint filed by the United Boatmen Association of Pagsanjan, which accused Ejecito and other local officials of awarding a contract to FRCV without public bidding. Under the contract, FRCV provided accident insurance for tourists and boatmen at the Pagsanjan Gorge Tourist Zone, even though the company lacked a license from the Insurance Commission. The Office of the Ombudsman filed charges against them before the Sandigan, while the vice mayor was acquitted. Ejecito, Bruel, and several council members were convicted. In defending their actions before the SC, Ejecito argued that FRCV was the only qualified service provider and that public bidding was unnecessary, while Bruel claimed that the contract was for special services and not insurance. The SC disagreed and ruled that the contract was for insurance and therefore classified as goods requiring public bidding under the Government Procurement Reform Act. Procurement through competitive bidding aims to protect the public interest by offering the best possible advantages through open competition and avoiding any suspicion of favoritism or anomalies in the execution of public contracts. Exceptions to bidding are only permitted in rare cases, such as emergencies or multiple failed bidding attempts, which did not apply in this instance, the High Court said. Instead of following the required bidding process, Ejecito directly awarded the contract to FRCV through negotiated procurement without valid justification. RA 3019 prohibits public officers from unfairly favoring private parties by granting them special benefits, advantages, or preferences through bias, bad faith, or serious negligence. The SC found that Ejecito knowingly gave FRCV an unfair advantage, bypassing legal procedures and ignoring clear red flags. FRCV lacked a certificate of authority from the Insurance Commission. It was also registered with the Department of Trade and Industry and the Bureau of Internal Revenue just 5 days before it offered its services to Ejecito. These suggest that FRCV was created solely to provide specialized services to the municipality of Pagsanjan despite having no prior experience, the SC noted. By purposely sparing FRCV from the rigors of the processes under the procurement law and consciously turning a blind eye to irregularities, Ejecito gave it unwarranted benefit, advantage, or preference. Bruel was found guilty of misrepresenting FRCV's qualifications and conspiring with Ejecito to secure the contract. She falsely claimed that FRCV could provide the required services, even though its registration with the Bureau of Internal Revenue listed it as a computer business. The SC acquitted the Sangguniang Bayan members due to a lack of evidence proving they showed favoritism toward FRCV. Their ordinance did not prohibit Ejecito from holding public bidding, it only allowed negotiated procurement, although mistakenly, the SC said. The municipal election officer of Datuodan Sinsod Town, Maguindanao del Norte province was killed along with her husband in an ambush on Wednesday morning. Lawyer Mohammed Nabil Musha, provincial election supervisor of Maguindanao del Norte said by Masada Lidazon, Abo was on her way to the office in Datuodan Sinsod's Barangay Dalacan when waylaid at around 8:30 am along the national highway in Barangay Makit. Abo was aboard an SUV driven by her husband who was identified only as Jojo. The couple was rushed to a hospital in Cotabato City where Abo's husband was declared dead on arrival. Abo died later while undergoing medical care. Lieutenant Colonel Jackson Lopez, Datuodan Sinsod Police Chief, condemned the ambush and sought the help of civilians near the crime scene to help police identify the perpetrators. Brigadier General Romeo Macapaz, Police Regional Director for the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, said a manhunt is going on and all entry and exit points of Datuodan town had been sealed. That's all for this week. I'll see you next Friday with more stories of corruption and foolishness within the Philippine government.